And I'd like to thank everybody for taking their time. It looks like you're enjoying, this might be a working lunch for you. So again, thank you for your time. My name is Christina Carrion. I'm the engagement manager here at Nepris. But prior to coming on board with Nepris, I was a classroom educator. I taught both general education and special education, and I was also an instructional technologist. So I kind of bring that to the table today as we're going, walking through the Nepris platform. And our main objective is to give you an overview of Nepris and share with you how you can connect with USGBC professionals. And we have a bigger, broader platform, but those are professionals that you will have access to through the Nepris platform, as well as industry chat. So there's three major ways that you can connect using our platform. One is through industry chats, and that is most similar to a webinar where industry professionals offer unique bodies of knowledge, and they're proactively offering that expertise to classrooms, and that's most similar to a webinar. You can also submit a request, we call them session requests, to connect with an industry professional and connect them to your classroom. So you'll hear me say sessions throughout today's training. And again, those are those live interactive sessions that you can have with industry professionals. And then all of those sessions that are live are recorded, and you can later find them in the video library. So you also have access to about 1,900 video connections that other classrooms have made across the nation as well. So that's something you can take and use tomorrow if you, or excuse me, Monday, if you so desired in your classroom. And I always like to kick it off with this quote, which says, "The majority of men and women who work in tech, but really insert any content area, any field, they were inspired to pursue those careers by one person, one event, and one class." And here we are today. You know, you are educators inspiring your students for a lifetime. And what we hope to provide you is the network of professionals that you can continue that work. So essentially what Nepris is we're a cloud-based platform. We make it easy for teachers to connect with industry experts to bring the real world to your classroom. And we lovingly refer to ourselves as match.com between industry and education. And using Nepris is really easy. The first step is that teachers will log into Nepris, and they'll create a session request based on the topic in the curriculum where you feel you can benefit most from an industry connection. And once you've submitted that request with a date and a time, then you can kick back and relax, because this is where Nepris steps in. And we get to work finding, matching, and locating professionals that have those skills that match the topic that you've requested. Kind of answering that eternal question for students of, why do I have to learn this content? Why is it important for me to know about linear equations? And how will I ever use that later on in my life? And interestingly enough, we have connected several algebra classes with folks in the roller coaster industry that have described how they use linear equations on a day-to-day basis to develop roller coasters. And, you know, getting students fired up about learning about that concept, because what kid doesn't love a roller coaster? And so once we have found the perfect match for you, we connect you virtually with industry professionals, just like we're connected here today. We do ask our professionals to be as interactive as possible. So that means they can share their screen with PowerPoint, any multimedia, and we've also done virtual field trips as well. We had a request come in last semester from a first grade class that was doing a PBL project. And the industry professional that accepted the session was doing her practicum work at the Scotland Botanical Gardens. So this class from Texas was able to connect to Scotland And the botanist walked the class through the flora and the fauna at the garden. So we have so many neat connections that we make on a day-to-day basis. Oops. And with that, this is kind of a peek into a typical Nepris session. So in terms of technology requirements, you will need a projector system, a computer with Wi-Fi, webcam, speaker, and a microphone. And if you have those things in place, you're pretty much good to go. Prior to the day of your session, we will have a Nepris moderator that reaches out to you to ask for a tech check, and that is just to ensure that all of your technology is working. We do that for both the educator and the industry professional, and it takes about 10 minutes to complete. So in terms of what you're looking at today, the presenter that's projected to the screen, her name is Megan Jackson. She works for Fossil Clothing Line, but she also has her own jean clothing line. So she's speaking to the class on this day about entrepreneurship. Across the top of her head, you'll notice that there's 4 boxes. The first one is a Nepris moderator. They're present to kick off the session, to introduce the classroom to the industry professional, and then to kind of go behind the scenes and let the presenter do the presenting. The second and fourth boxes that you see are actually 2 classrooms that have joined centered around the same topic. And they happen to be, in this instance, connected on the same campus, but hopefully you can see the implications there of being able to connect globally. And in terms of the flow of a typical Nepris session, the first 5 minutes is centered around the industry professional talking about who they are, what led them to their career, and their educational background. The next 15 minutes is centered around the topic that was requested and relating that topic to the real world, again, answering that eternal question. And then the next 15 to 20 minutes is centered around the Q&A, where students can actually ask questions of the industry professionals. And they can do that in one of 2 ways. They can raise their hand, walk up to the webcam, and kind of do it the old-fashioned way, if you will. Or if you have a bring your own device policy on your campus, then students can actually text in questions. That comes to the Nepris moderator, and they'll be filtered onto the industry professional from there. So this is kind of a peek into what a typical Nepris presentation looks and feels like. And I think from here, we're going to go ahead and hop out to the Nepris website. And when you are logging in, the address that you'll use is usgbc.nepris.com.
That's available from yourrice.org/teacher.
Okay. And if you have not signed in yet, you simply click sign up and then enter your first name, last name. The only thing I want to remind you of is to use the email address that usually it's your school email address, but if there is a Gmail that John has sent me from EcoRise, then please be sure to use that one as well. And then you would describe yourself as an educator. But I always like to highlight that students are able to log in as well. And they only have access to the videos, but in terms of research, they can research careers and find out more about certain topics that you're learning about as well. So again, they only have access to the archive videos. So I'm gonna go ahead and select home and log in myself. Okay, and this is your dashboard. It's your landing page, and mine looks slightly different today. I did create a demo session request, and so on the day that you have a session scheduled, so you've submitted a request, and now you're just waiting for the time of your actual session. then you'll see this blue block, which is a notification that you have a session scheduled, and it's super easy to connect with the professional. You click on Join Live Session, and a Zoom meeting will launch, and you'll continue to launch the application from here, and then you'll be connected again, just like we're connected here today. Excuse me. I'm going to go ahead and select Do Nothing. And I know I'm kind of jumping ahead there. I haven't even shown you how to submit a request, but I want to be sure to point out that it's easy as that to join once you've been connected with a professional. So I'm going to go ahead and close that tab. And on your dashboard, you can do 3 things immediately. You can share an update, and this is with the larger Nepris community, and a story of impact, or maybe how you want to connect with professionals in a certain content arena. The next thing you could do is submit a request right away. And you can share a story. And we love to hear stories of impact, maybe how connecting with professionals is transforming your classroom. And this is essentially our page for blogging, but we like to call them stories. And then further to the right, you'll see your name, and Platinum Plan will be indicated. If you happen to have Bronze, send me an email. I'm Chris at Nepris, or contact John, and then we'll make sure that we fix that for you on the back end. But Platinum gives you access to the entire website. You can make unlimited requests for an entire year to connect with professionals. Just below there, there's 4 blocks, and this is essentially the life cycle of your request. So anything from drafted to completed. I always like to point out that the drafted sessions are your work in progress, and Nepris does not take any action on drafted sessions. We feel like you're still working on those. But as soon as you connect a date and a time to those sessions, it becomes a requested session. Once we've confirmed an industry professional has agreed to connect with your classroom, then it's confirmed. And then once you've had that live virtual interaction with an industry professional, it's considered completed. And again, just a reminder that all of those sessions go through an editing process. Students are blurred to protect their privacy. Industry professionals and educators are not. And that typically takes about a week. And then you'll receive a notification that your video is accessible in the video library. Okay, and I'm going to give you a lot of information today, and I definitely don't expect you to hold on to it. But I want to let you know that we support you in a variety of ways here at Nepris. So we have getting ready documents and support documents for you here. We also have the ability for you to take a tour across the top of your dashboard, and help videos. Every page has a help video, and you'll just locate the button on the, oh, excuse me. I think we lost each other, huh?
We did, but we're back.
Okay, fantastic. I was going to continue to move on, but were we at the getting ready and support? Is that where we kind of jumped off?
Yeah.
Okay. So like I was mentioning, I don't expect you to remember everything that I'm going to share with you here today, but just know that there are a variety of ways that Nepris supports you. We have getting ready documents. We have help videos. And each page has this green button that has a help video that'll help walk you through activities that you can do on that page. So that is pretty much the Nepris dashboard. And all of the navigating that we do today is across the top of your screen. So the next one is sessions. And this is pretty much kind of where you'll live and breathe in terms of connecting with the industry professionals. So earlier I mentioned industry chats, and I'll go ahead and click on this. This is a listing of all of the upcoming chats that are scheduled on our platform, and you'll see that there are 15 that are coming up. And we really look at those big national themes in education and get professionals on our platform who can speak to those topics. So last week from USGBC, we had a sustainable leadership session, and we also had a healthy eating session that was offered through with USGBC professionals. We also have some sessions coming up for Science Week next week. Janet Ivy from Janet's Planet is connecting to talk about the solar system. We also have financial planning, and next Friday is National Manufacturing Day. So we have professionals from A1 Tool Corporation and Sloan Valve. If you ever use a public restroom and you have to, flush the toilet and there's that metal valve that's back there, they're the makers of the flushometer. So again, some fantastic sessions that you can connect with, and you simply click on View Details, and then the Yes, Sign Me Up button. But just want to point out that we'll have the date and the time on the right-hand side, the duration, and you can hover over the presenter's name and then view on their profile to find out a little bit more about them. And like I was mentioning, several classes can join these sessions. So last year, I think Janet Ivy had about 20 classrooms that she connected with at one time. So we definitely have the moderator there to help with question and answer time. So the description, key questions, and the expected outcomes are all here in the middle. Oops, excuse me. So sorry about that. My apologies. And then there's a resource guide that she has also attached. And if this is a session that you're interested in joining, you simply click Yes, Sign Me Up. We ask you for the number of students and then your phone number. And then go ahead and select Save, and I'll select Cancel. And you'll receive a notification that you have been added to join the industry chat on that day. So I'm heading back up here to sessions. The next thing that you can do on our platform is you can actually browse session requests. So there's a few different ways that you could do that. You can search by keyword, or you can scroll down here on the left-hand side, and there's our help video. And you can filter by career cluster and by grade level. So one of the things that I want to point out is that currently it's filtered by USGBC sessions, so teachers that are creating those requests, and we have 6 sessions available. But you can also uncheck this and have access to the over 4,500 session requests on the Nepris platform, on the larger Nepris platform. So let's say that within your class, you're teaching map making or geography. And I'm just kind of throwing it out there as an example. And you look at the description here and you say, you know what, this is a session that I can tweak and modify and make my own. Then all you need to do is click on Details here to find out more about this session. Now, of course, this session could be on engineering, it could be on sustainability, it could be on green building, and so on. So we're just going to select this one for example's sake. And then there's the blue navigation bar. And this button is going to come in very handy here in just a moment. So pay attention to the actions one. And then you'll see the description, the key questions, and the expected outcomes that this teacher had identified. And if you say to yourself, well, you know what, we're learning about map making and geography, I can tweak this, modify it, and make it my own, then you simply click Actions, and then you can copy this request. So it takes all of this original information from the original request, and it puts it in a new form that you can submit as a session request for your class. So again, we're trying to minimize time that you spend completing your request. And teachers typically tell us it takes between 5 and 7 minutes to complete these online forms. So across the top, you'll notice that there's 5 tabs to work through, and I'm just going to highlight a couple of the items here. The session types, we do offer 3 different types of sessions. The first one is a topic presentation. So that's like that Megan Jackson slide I shared with you earlier. It had the flow of the 45 minutes with the introduction, the body of the topic that was requested, and then the Q&A. Project mentoring is if you have a longer term project like a PBL, and at certain checkpoints along the way, you would like to connect with a professional that can talk to your class about topics like collaboration or project management. It could be about the design process, or potentially at the end of your project, the presentation skills that they'll need in order to present to a panel of experts, perhaps. Which leads us into project evaluation. This is where you can flip the script, and we kind of refer to it as a Shark Tank, where you can actually invite in a panel of experts that will give evaluative feedback to students based on their project presentation. So the students are the presenters and the experts are the evaluators. So that is project evaluation, and of course, not specified, could be a virtual tour perhaps. A topic title, I'm just going to go ahead and make a quick edit here and call it demo, but again, you can make it your own. The class, you'll indicate the class that you teach, so it could be science, social studies, and so on, and the grade level. And simply, if you click in the box, you can click on the grade level that's appropriate for you. And then you'll indicate what your class is studying. Again, you can modify these boxes to suit your needs, and identify what you want your students to learn from the industry experts. And then what are some questions that the industry experts should try to answer? This is always a good place to insert student voice, collaborating with your students to find out what they want to learn from the industry expert. And it's always a great jumping point for the industry expert to preview to see where they should go with their presentation or their evaluation. And then select Save and Next. And this is where you can self-select any standards that you would like to align your request with. So we have Common Core, Next Gen Science Standards, and National CTE Career Tech. And I'm just going to go ahead and tap on that.
Just to warn you, we just got 1 o'clock for our next activity. So
okay.
Heads up on timing in terms of
okay. Thank you very much. So once you have that, then go ahead and select Save and Next. Setting preferences is where you can set an industry preference, and then select Save and Next. Attaching documents. Teachers typically attach rubrics, timelines, checklists, anything that you feel would be beneficial for the industry professional to see prior to the day of your session. And then requesting the schedule. Up to this point, you've been in draft mode, but now we're getting ready to submit your request. So let's say there'll be 30 students that will be connecting. And then we do ask that you pick 3 dates and times, at least 3 weeks out from the date of your request. So there is a bit of pre-planning that's involved. And I think that we lost you again, but I'm going to go ahead and continue to move forward and select dates and times here. Let's say that 8 a.m. would be the time that you prefer. And then session duration. Let's say, I know I mentioned earlier that 45 minutes is a typical time, but if you have only 20 minutes to an hour, you can select in between that duration. So there we go, 30 minutes. And then any additional notes that the Nepris team can benefit from seeing, maybe you have flexible dates and times, you can add that here. And then we'll go ahead and select schedule. And we will ask for one additional piece of information, and that is your phone number, and that's just for logistics and planning. If there's been a change in schedule and we can't reach by email, then we'll reach out by phone. And at this point, your session has been requested, and this is where Nepris steps in and we get to work finding, matching, and locating professionals that have the skills that match the topic that you've requested. Now, I'm going to go ahead and head back up here to sessions. So browse session request is where we were just at. You can also create your very own session request simply by clicking on create session request. It's a blank form, but you fill it out exactly the same way. You can also get to your sessions from here. There is a way for you to select from the action drop-down menu from your favorites, as well as browsing the video library. And again, you can capture these and use them for your work on Monday. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how you can search by keyword. And again, just a reminder that you can filter by career cluster or grade level. And I'm going to share my favorite session here, which is called Chemistry Making Soap. And click on details to find out more about the session. And of course, there's a video attached here. And at the beginning here, Katie Hosbein, who is our professional, she's beginning to engage the class. So I'll give you a little preview of that.
My name is Katie Hosbein. I am a PhD candidate in chemistry, so I'm getting my PhD in chemistry, which is the highest degree that you can get in chemistry, okay? So how many of you guys are all interested in chemistry? Yes! How many of you know someone who's in chemistry right now, like an adult who has a career in chemistry?
Me? I know.
Okay. So you know me now? Okay. So when I was your age, I didn't know anyone in science. So I was not.
So Katie, is beginning to engage the students. Hopefully you were able to see how they were blurred. You could hear them clearly, but you just, could not see them. The other thing that strikes me is that students are beginning to get exposed to the day in the life of what it's like to be a chemist. All of the tools of the trade that she uses are right there behind her on the shelf. Now, every Nepris session has an aha moment. And for me, as a former educator and a mom, this is it. Katie has a question come to her that is, have you ever had any failed experiments? And I just love her reaction.
And failed experiments?
Oh, yes. So a big part of graduate school in science is that there's a lot of failing, just day-to-day experiments that fail, and that is normal. And you should know that that's very normal, and you just have to push through it and keep trying to figure out what's happening. And even the failed experiments teach you a lot about science.
And this speaks to perseverance and grit. Failure is your first attempt at learning, and all those larger, powerful messages. She goes on to further do an experiment with the class, and I just love their reaction.
It's it. It's going to come out. Whoa! It's the smoke. It's the smoke. Look at it. Whoa! Yeah, I can do that.
I'm not sure if you caught that, but there was a student that said, I could do that. And that's our main goal here at Nepris, is to get students excited about learning. And if they walk out of a session and they say, hey, I could totally see myself doing this as I get older, then our mission is accomplished. If a student walk out of a session and says, that was great, but I'm not quite sure that that's what I want to do for the rest of my life, then our mission has also been accomplished, because what we're doing is helping them identify and narrow those areas of interest and just exposing them to the multitude of opportunities that are available as they start preparing for their career and college life. So again, this is the video library. The assignments tab, just moving across the top. In your Nepris guide on page 22, which you would have received in your welcome email, it goes into further detail about how to create an assignment. But essentially what that is assigning a video for your students to watch. So I encourage you to take a peek at that Nepris guide. The connections, this is where you can actually search members on the platform. You can search by educators and professionals. And you would do that simply by adding a keyword. So because it's defaulted to all here, you'll see all educators and industry professionals that either teach engineering or have engineering identified as a career. And stories, again, this is our blogging page. So if you have a story that you would like to share of how, Nepris is transforming your classroom, perhaps you can add that here. And we also love to share, what's happening out in the in social media. And you can always follow us at Nepris app to learn how other educators are using our platform. And finally, I always encourage you to keep your profile up to date, just like you might be interested in learning a little bit more about the professional that you'll be connecting with. They're interested in learning about the classroom that they're connecting with. And the best way for them to learn more is to check out your profile. So I always encourage educators to keep that up to date. And with that, today's training is complete. There's several ways that you can contact us along the way. We do have a Contact Us tab here where you can reach out to us and ask any questions that you have. And my contact information is chris@nepris.com. And like I mentioned before, on social media, if you're on Twitter or Facebook, you can find us at Nepris app. And my phone number is located below. And I'd like to thank you for attending today's USGBC EcoRise teacher training, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend.